Why are so many wholesalers going over to close CRM? It's simple. The only ones that are doing it want to close more deals. They want to sell more things. The problem with other real estate specific CRMs you've probably heard of before, like Investor Lift or PropStream, isn't that they don't give you the best real estate specific data, because they're excellent at giving you information on properties and addresses. But it's because they weren't built for selling things. They weren't built for a sales process. And that's really all the game of wholesaling is. Who can run a better sales process? Companies like Keegley, one of the top wholesalers in the nation, has been using closed CRM for years and years and years, and it's allowed them to stay at the top and be more consistent with sales over time. This is because closed CRM has a built-in dialer to make 200 calls a day effortlessly. It's got a unified inbox for communication for those calls, those texts, those emails. And it has workflow capabilities and smart view capabilities that make follow-up a breeze. So whether you're a wholesaler doing direct to seller, you're doing agent outreach, you run a dispositions team only, you run an acquisitions arm only, this specific CRM, closed CRM, when set up the right way, will undoubtedly help you close more deals. My name is Sam Queen. I'm with the Close Doctor team. I've been fortunate to work with industry leaders like Jamil Damji from Keegley, like Pace Morby from Sub2, building their sales systems behind their educational brands, helping companies like Keegley and their franchise team build their systems. I've built countless number of wholesaling accounts for countless numbers of little nuanced motions with different team members and different responsibilities and tech stacks. So if you're looking to have something like I'm going to show you today in this step-by-step video where I'm going to walk through a recent build for a wholesaler, and you want a custom done for you system installed inside of your business, your wholesaling business in the next 30 days with your team trained on it, I'm going to leave a link down in the description below so you can book a call. This demo I'm about to walk you through is going to be really eye-opening if you're new to close and you're unsure of how to structure the data coming in. And that's the number one problem wholesalers have, is how do you structure your data? You have leads have contacts, and you also have opportunities. So you have leads, contacts, and opportunities. Which one of those is going to be the property address? Which one of those is going to be the person you're actually speaking to? Do you speak to multiple people associated with one address at one given time? These little nuanced questions you're going to ask yourself when building this closed CRM account are ultimately going to determine the future success of the account and how the data flows and how your team operates inside of here. For purposes of this account here, we're building an acquisition strictly motion. And you could probably apply some of the same thoughts to a dispositions strictly motion as well. And in this account I'm showing you here, everything starts with a Google Sheet where we have a team that's scraping these different real estate tools, these different databases, finding properties we think are going to be a fit for this motion, and then we're dropping them inside of this Google Sheet, this all leads sheet. And now we've taken this sheet and we've mapped it to closed CRM, and I'm going to show you what happens when we put a lead inside of here. And obviously you can automate something like this. If you're using a tool like Investor Lift, they have different Zapier triggers where you could make your closed CRM talk back to your Investor Lift account. So we put in various information like a facility name, property addresses for commercial buildings, contact name, contact phone number. Obviously, if you're doing a residential property, everything is exactly the same. And then I've got this column here called send to close, and I'm going to write yes inside of there. When I write yes, that is the trigger that I have set up to make sure that this property, this address goes over to closed CRM. Boom, there is our automation. We have brought this lead into closed CRM. At the top, we have the contact name right now. We have no opportunity created. I'm going to get to that in a second. We have information on the lead owner, the state, the city. So if we want to filter for that, if we want to go actually see the property itself, we have the link to go see the property itself. And then we have this custom activity filled out. Now what this custom activity inside of Close is for us in this process that we've designed here is it's when we have a new property added to the system. That's the 01. So when I enter that information into the Google Sheet, new property comes into the system. Then we have a contact mate. So we're ringing, we're dialing. In this Close CRM account, we have something called a dial party. And in this dial party, we say that the date of call isn't today. The total number of calls is less than 10. There's no incoming communication from the lead. They're not a status of not qualified, unresponsive, do not call. There's no contact made opportunity. I'll get to that in a second, or custom activity. And there's no qualified property custom activity that exists either. So when I'm going through that dial party, I'm ringing. And you want that dial party because if you have 2 acquisition guys, 3 acquisition guys, 5 acquisition guys, or maybe even just yourself yourself on your team dialing in that one smart view, you can start to take advantage of Close CRM's predictive dialer and power dialer features. And if you want more context on that, there's another video on this channel that looks like this. But we're ringing. John Doe here picks up, and I will fill out then a contact made custom activity. I'll say that I'm the lead owner, the date of the contact was today, the property name I can copy and paste from here, selfless self-storage, and I'll explain why we're copying and pasting this here in a second as well. Rentable square feet that I learned about, the confidence that I'm going to close the deal, and what was the outcome. I've got follow-up, long-term follow-up, which may be like over 30-day tasks that I want to set. Not qualified, we determined they're not qualified. Qualified, needs offer, underwriting. So let's go qualified. And these outcomes you can change obviously to your business, and if you guys want to come work with us, we'll help you determine what those are. And now that we've made contact and we filled out this contact made, we can see what I came in new property. We can see the contact made. If we wanted to search this property address on this profile compared to a different address, maybe John Doe is associated with 2 properties. And this is where things start to get convoluted and complex inside of Close CRM is what is the opportunity? What is the lead? What is the contact? In this case, what I'm showing you here is applicable 95% of the time to most wholesaling businesses and their processes. It's important that you're always now we have the qualified property custom activity already filled out. I'll get back to that story in a second on the structure of the data. But when we have these custom activities, not only do we have that story that's being told along the way, but we also have additional data and insights we can pull. Like today, how many new properties were added to Close CRM? 1, and I can click that and I can see that new 1 that we added from the Google Sheet. If I go back to the reports tab and I add that number 2 tile of contact made, now I can see how many people did we make contact with today. Oh, 1, it's going to be that same person. Same thing with the how many qualified properties did our team generate today? And can I look into those? Oh, there they are right there. And that's the importance of filling out these custom activities and having the process. Now that that's been filled out, our opportunity has been made. It's in our acquisitions pipeline. They're a qualified lead. I assigned my confidence. Where did I get my confidence from? I got it from over here. I've got my rentable square feet. I've got my property address. I've got my property name. What is amazing about that is now when I go into my opportunities pipeline in my acquisitions channel, I can see John Doe there. I can see it in that Kanban style view. And if I go over my options here and I turn on all these notes and custom fields, I can now even see all of the information about the property and the address from this view. And now this becomes a really awesome view for you to hang out with your team when you're looking at where leads are in the pipeline. Now I'm in the statuses and pipeline section here. And obviously as we start to work this deal through the pipeline, we can go from a qualified property to in underwriting, needs offer, offer pending, offer rejected, contract signed, closed won, deal lost. But what we can also have in there would then be our dispositions pipeline. And say when we get to the point of underwriting or needs offer or the offer getting accepted, or maybe we're putting it into the marketing assets, whatever that trigger is for you to get a lead from an acquisitions pipeline to a dispositions pipeline, we could build that dispositions pipeline and they can have their own custom activities that they're working through. But the importance in the structure of that data is John Doe might send you 2 properties. And what happens when John Doe does send you 2 properties? Well, you're going to also have another 01 new property show up. You're going to have another contact made. But it's important that we're always copying and pasting that unique property address. So say I'll manually fill this out, a 01 new property shows up, I'll assign myself, comes in today, and then this is the second property name, the second property address, right? Now if I did a contact made, I'll do that as well to show you how this is going to work. And we're going to want to just copy this information. It's important you just train your team to copy this information anywhere they're putting it. If you're putting an address somewhere, you're putting it in an email, you're putting it in a text message, copy and paste the entire thing. Rentable square feet 1500, outcome qualified. So now I've got this mess of custom activities, and yeah, I can just filter by custom activities on the lead profile to get all my text messages and other notes out of there. But I can also just take second property address and I can search it on the lead profile right here and only see the information associated with second property address. Or say I'm talking about the property address somewhere else in Slack or in WhatsApp, and I just come into the main search bar, I'll find any instances of that address on a lead profile. What we're also going to get then is a second opportunity created on John Doe's profile here. When the automation fires off, we're going to see that opportunity in the pipeline as well. Other things we've done in close accounts before is if we've made this lead field, the lead field can become the address, right? And then the opportunity could also be an address. And then you have multiple contacts underneath there. But in a world where you just have one person send you 2 addresses, the whole thing breaks down. That's the problem. problem with this. In a world where one person sends you 2 addresses, the whole thing breaks down. Because if I had 2 John Doe lead profiles and John Doe sent me a text message, I'll get 2 text messages in my inbox. Now, a tool like HubSpot is better built for this because HubSpot has opportunities. They call them deals. It has contacts. It has the leads equivalent. It has companies, which are their leads, but they're their own properties. And because they're their own properties, you could assign communication from this company and this company under the same deal. And you can see that communication. And that's what you're going to miss inside of Close is if you have one acquisitions person that sends you multiple deals, or like one JV partner that sends you multiple deals, or one disposition person that you work with to sell multiple deals, and then you have to combine those communications together, you're not going to get them in one pretty view. You're only always going to get that communication under that person's name itself, which I don't think is the biggest deal in the entire world. I think for the people that are using this that want to do more acquisitions or they want to do more dispositions, you can build 95% of what you're going to need to be able to go smash 200 calls. And then the Smart View feature over here is going to allow you to create, like we said, dial parties where people can start using the predictive dialer to call it higher multiples. And then you can make 300 calls a day, 400 calls a day per sales rep. I've seen some crazy things, and you can make sure that a lead never slips through the cracks. That's the most important thing in wholesaling. When someone wants to sell their house and they have the pain to sell their house, they're probably going to sell it eventually. But what wholesaler is going to pick up the phone, call them, build the right relationship over the right amount of time, so when they're in that pocket, they're ready to purchase? And in Close, we can create a Smart View like this that shows, hey, there is an opportunity where the current status is qualified. The number of outgoing calls is less than 5 calls. There's no current status of potential, so we know there's no deals. There's not a qualification call. We have this principle at Close Doctor where we create buckets with our Smart Views, where these leads fill up into these buckets. When they meet certain criteria, when they meet other criteria, they disappear. In this case, if I change this status back to potential to say that John Doe put a new deal across the line, and I go back into that bucket, John Doe has disappeared. Or say I made more than 6 phone calls, they'll disappear. Or say I had, a last communication date. You just got to search communication, last communication date, and you can do is before and 7 days ago. And then every 7 days that goes by, a lead will show up. And then you can do this for each step of your process. But here's the thing about CRM. Here's the thing about the reporting. Here's the thing about all the things. If you're looking to get prescribed a solution so you don't have any leads slipping through the cracks, so you can get these reporting, so you can get this metric, so you can install and plug in your team and scale. Look, real estate, wholesale, cold callers are like hard to come by. They turn over pretty often. I know this. I've worked with enough people to know this. When you have a better system to plug them into, you're going to have more success with that person over a longer period of time. It's just true. When you plug a good caller into a good system and you make sure they follow the process, because the best process is one that gets used, you're going to be able to do some amazing things. All the information you're looking for inside of your wholesaling business on how many dials I need to make to close a deal and how many team members they need to have and how many leads I need to get, you can get all of that data once you start actually adopting a process and following a process. I hope you guys found this video valuable. I've got another video on this channel as a step-by-step that I did for a dispositions wholesaling account if you guys want to check that out. Once again, also pretty applicable to 95% of wholesalers, regardless of whatever situation that they're in, whatever tech stack that they're in. Close is going to help you close more deals faster. If you made it this far and you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. And as always, happy closing. Peace.